Here we have another set of pocket doors. These are just temporary, just to help us get things fit. They're expensive doors, so we use a cheap $60 door just to get things close. After plaster, we'll tweak things a little bit. This door was a bit of a unique challenge because this is a structural wall. So what we did, without losing that crown up there, was to take down this structure, support it from both sides, and then we put in a triple LVL beam, and that beam is carried by these two walls. Now the leading stud, you could call it the point load post, right here, and if I didn't have this plywood on it, you could see, but is a piece of 2-inch by 1.5-inch tube steel. So that, you have one on this side, and then you have one on the other side of the split wall. So that is essentially your structural post, and then that is your structural post. And then the rest of the wall is built with those LVL studs we used upstairs on the flat. So this wall here is an LVL wall. It's LVLs on the flat, which means that this is carrying the whole structure. And what that allowed us to do is, you can't normally support a wall with a wall on the flat, but because we use the LVLs, from here to there is carried by the wall. Same over there, which means the span of the beam that we need to achieve this is really only from here to here. So a smaller span, smaller beam. So we reduce that to reduce the height of the beam. Originally, the engineer had fired off a larger beam, and that gave us a problem because we wouldn't have the depth to get the pocket door track in. So we went back and forth with him with different ideas. Hey, can we use an LVL? We tried LVL studs, which are 1.5 inches. Those wouldn't work, so we did actual LVLs, which are 1.75 inches. So it was a lot of back and forth. And then the other thing we needed to do was, on top of that, throw in this 1/2-inch plywood, which gives us some lateral strength too. So this is a great example of some collaborative design. We worked with him, BMC Engineering, to try and get things the way they needed to be, to try and get the look we wanted, but also to make sure the house doesn't fall down. So that's why we have plywood on the walls. All right, I've got this floor pulled up here because I want to show you something. This house was built in a couple stages. Right here is the end of the original foundation. You can see it lines up with basically this LVL triple beam here, right here. There was then later an add-on here that was done with a slab. So from about 10 feet that way to over here is all slab. Then we get to the end of the slab, and we have yet another type of foundation here. This was a poured foundation, frost walls. Instead of being 2x6s on the foundation, we've got 2x12s floating above a rat slab. So this created some installation challenges, but it also created some structural challenges. You can see we did all sorts of different things here. But in order to open this whole space up and level the ceilings and get rid of the staircase that was here and do all the other things, we had to put in these two very large beams. I think they're about 22 feet long. There's a triple LVL with two steel 1/2-inch plates in it. They're called flitches, and that's all bolted together. We built that on site. It's very time consuming because you want to make sure that all the holes in the flitch plate line up with the holes you're drilling, and that when you put them up, and they're very heavy and they're in the air, that they still line up. A couple things we did helped us out on there. First, we laid out a template, just a piece of 2x4, and we marked every single piece of structure that it encountered, so that when we brought that to the metal fabricator, he could put those holes right where they're supposed to be and move them a little bit if they need to. So this post lands on a structural post here, which goes right down to the foundation, carries over to here, where we have this huge structural post, and continues through the bathroom, where there's another structural post. We also have the exact same one here, same design, same size, with a post, and it carries through to the pantry. And then you'll see we have our old floor systems hangered onto that. And then below that, we have now leveled our strapping using little blocks and a laser to kind of bring this ceiling together. So we're bringing together a lot of different areas of this house. We have the original colonial box, this section, and the new section. And we want to create one nice level flat space. We also did that on the floor. by sistering all these joists in here and leveling everything. We did over here actually run it out a level, and over there as well we ran it out a level because we want a level kitchen, but I don't want a threshold in a 6-foot opening or over there. So in the last couple feet, that plywood actually drops down about 1/2 inch, and the same over there. That way the flooring will just go into a smooth transition and we can avoid any kind of a threshold or detail strip.